Hello and welcome to another video of concept series. We are going to discuss today class 6 history chapter number 8 vital villages and thriving towns. So let's get started. So vital villages and thriving towns. Prabhakar at blacksmith shop. Prabhakar sat watching the smiths at the local shop. There was a small bench on which iron tools like axes, sickles were laid out ready for sale. Okay. A bright fire was burning and two men were heating and beating metal rods into shape. Okay. It was very hot and noisy, and yet it was fascinating to watch what was happening. Iron tools and agriculture. We often take the use of iron for granted today. Things made iron and steel are part of our daily lives. The use of iron began in the subcontinent around 3000 years ago. Some of the largest collections of iron tools and weapons was found in megalithic burials, about which we read in the chapter 4. If you haven't watched the previous videos, please go and watch of the concept series. It is already uploaded in my YouTube channel. Around 2500 years ago, there is evidence for growing use of iron tools. These included axes for clearing forests. Please underline this: axes for clearing forests and iron plowshare for plugging. Okay. As we have had seen in chapter number 5, the plowshare was useful for increasing agriculture production. Okay. Other steps to increase production: irrigation. Okay. Kings and kingdoms you have been reading about could have not existed without the support of flourishing villages. Means they are saying the kingdoms and rulers will not be existing without the supportive use of, without the flourishing villages, without the good population, healthy population. Okay. Here are some tools are given beside in this photo. Iron tools. Here are a set of captions. Choose the right one for each of the pictures. Sickle, tong, axis. Okay, these are sickle, tong and axis. They look like this. Okay. While new tools and the system of transplantation increased production, irrigation was also used. Okay. Irrigation works that were built during this time, including canals, wells, tanks, okay, etc. So if you look at the chart, you will find that some of the stages in the construction of irrigation works are mentioned. This chart is there given. Okay. King needs 4 from money places. They demand taxes for farmers. This is possible with irrigation. This is given. They are saying about this. Okay. So fill in the rest by using the following figure. You can fill this chart by yourself. Now, next come to the next part. Who lived in the villages? There were at least 3 different kinds of people living in most villages in the southern and northern part of the subcontinent. Okay. In the Tamil region, large landowners were known as villar, ordinary plugmen were known as uzavar, and landless labor including slaves were known as kadaisiar and admiyat. So I have underlined some important terms that in Tamil region, large landowners known as villar, ordinary plugmen were known as uzavar. Plugmen is nothing but agriculturist, okay? And the landless laborers, including slaves, were known as kadaisiar or admiyan. Please underline this. These are very important terms. Now, in the northern part of the country, the village headman was known as gram bhojika. Usually, men from the same family held the position for generations. Please underline this. In other words, the post was hereditary. Means if a father was a headman of the village, then his son will be the headman of the village after his diminish or death. And when the son had died, his grandson will be the village headman. Means there is a hierarchy in this. The gram bhojika was often the largest landowner. Okay. Generally, he had slaves and hired workers to cultivate the land. Besides, as he powerful, the king often used him to collect taxes from villages, being like a collector in the village. He also functioned as a judge and sometimes as a policeman. Means all the powers in the villages were in the hand of Gram Bhojka. Okay. Apart from Gram Bhojka, there were other independent farmers known as Grihapatis, most of whom were smaller landowners. Okay. Apart from these, there were independent farmers, independent small landowners known as Grihapatis, and then there were men and women such as Dasa and Dasa Karamkara, means who work like a slave for the kings or large landowners or workers in the agriculture field, who did not own land and had to earn a living working in the fields owned by others. As I mentioned earlier, they were used to work as a either they used to work as a under the king or large landowners, or they used to work in the agriculture fields. Okay. In most villages, there were also some craft persons such as blacksmith, potter, carpenter, and weaver. This is a table given of earliest Tamil composition. You can read by it yourself. So now, let's read this. Next topic. Finding about the cities, stories, and travelers, culture, and archaeology. You may have heard of the Jatakas. These were stories that were probably composed by ordinary people and then written down and preserved by Buddhist monks. Okay, that's why we used to listen that Panchatantra Jatakas are Buddhist written stories. That's why Jatakas are also related to Buddhists. Here is a part of a Jataka story which tells us how a poor man gradually become rich. There's a story given, okay, in the next page. The clever poor man. Once upon a time, there was a clever young man who lived in a city. His only resource was a dead rat. Okay, he started out by selling it for a coin to a hotel for their cat. Means that the poor man only resource was a dead rat. He sold the dead rat to a coin to a hotel for the cat. Means the cat of the hotel owner, the clever poor man sold a dead rat to that cat. Okay, so then one day there was a storm. The king's garden was littered with branches and leaves. Littered means filled with branches and leaves. The king's garden. Okay, so and the gardener was at loss as to how to clear the mess. Means the gardener was unable to clear the mess. The young clever poor man offered to clean the garden if he could keep the woods and leaf. Means the poor man asked the king that he will clear the garden only if he can keep the wood and leaf. The gardener agreed at once, because gardener wanted to clean the garden, no? So he agreed at once because he is getting help with in free of cost. The young man rounded up all the children who were playing with. So he used a trick. The young man rounded up means collected all the children who were playing, the children were playing with, and he offered them sweet for every stick and leaf they could collect. So the young man told children that he will give one sweet for every stick and leaf that they collected. In no time, every scrap had been neatly piled near the entrance. Basically, the young poor man used his presence of mind in this case. Just then, the king's potter was on the lookout for fuel with which to bake his pots. Now, when the poor man has collected all the leaves and sticks, the king's potter came in search of the woods for making his pot. Fuel for making his pot. He wants fuel, means he wants sticks. So he took the whole lot and paid the young man for it. Means the young poor man sold that sticks to the king's potter. The young man now thought of another plan. He carried a jar full of water to the city gate and offered water to 500 grass cutters. They were pleased and said, "You have done as a good turn. Tell us, what can we do for you?" So here he used another trick. Okay, he offered 500 water to 500 grass cutter that he has carried a jar full of water to the city gate. Okay, so the grass cutters were pleased and said, You have done us a good turn, and what can we do for you? So the poor man replied, I'll let you know when I need your help. So poor man told, and then when I need your help, I'll tell you. He then made friends with the trader. Then poor man made friends with the trader. One day the trader told him, tomorrow a horse dealer is coming to town with 500 horses. So when trader became the poor man's friend, he told him that 500 horses are coming with a horse dealer. Hearing this, young poor man went back to the grass cutters. He said, please give me a bundle of grass each, and don't sell your grass till mine is sold. So the poor man used a trick and went back to the grass cutters and told them to please give him the bundle of grass, and don't sell their grass till his grass is sold. He told the grass cutters to. They agreed and gave him 500 bundle of grass. Okay. When the horse dealer could not buy grass anywhere else, he purchased the young man's grass for 1,000 coins. So this is how the poor man become a rich man, by earning 1,000 coins. Okay. We can use other kind of evidence to find out about life in some of these early cities. Sculptors carved scenes depicting people's lives in towns and villages as well as in the forests. See, this chapter, The Vital Village and Thriving Town, is not about the king's story or fight or something. It is a story of villages or towns. How did they grow during this time period when the Mahajanpas were growing, when the kingdom was building, how the development of towns and villages took place. Okay. Many of these sculptures were used to decorate railings, pillars, and gateways of buildings that were visited by people. Pillars. Okay. Now, below this is a sculpture. This figure is a sculpture. Okay. From Sanchi, a site with stupas in Madhya Pradesh, showing the scene in a city. We learn more about Sanchi in the chapter 11. Notice the way of walls are shown. Are they made of bricks or wood or stone? This is stone, because bricks do not last long, and Sanchi was a very historical place. So this will probably the stone. Okay. Many of the cities, this is given on the before page. Facing page, ring well found in Delhi. This is a ring well. Found in Delhi. Okay. Many of the cities that developed from about 2,500 years ago, at the time of Buddha and Mahavira, when Buddha and Mahavira was teaching their message. If you haven't seen that video, you can go on a YouTube channel. It is already uploaded as chapter number 6, New Questions and Ideas. Were capitals of Mahajanpads that you have learned about in chapter number 5. As we had seen, some of these cities were surrounded by massive fortification walls. So these Mahajanpads were surrounded by the massive, big, huge walls. In many cities, archaeologists have found rows of pots or ceramic rings arranged one on top of the other. Ceramic rings or pots means made of soil or wood. These pots like this. Okay. These seem to have been used as the toilets in some cases. Please underline this. And as drain and garbage dumps. Okay. These pots are used like this. These ring wells are usually found in individual houses. Okay. We have hardly any remains of palaces, markets, or homes of ordinary people. Perhaps some are yet to be discovered by archaeologists. Other made of wood means they are talking about the houses made of. The houses or palaces were made of wood, mud brick, and thatch. Thatch means substance used to make a kacha house. These type of houses may not have survived. Another way of finding out about earlier cities is from the accounts of sailors and travelers. Yeah, like one Fa Yan that come from China. He wrote many accounts about the Nalanda University. So this is a literary source. So we can tell that history of that time through these accounts. One of the most detailed accounts that has been found by an unknown Greek sailor. He described all the ports he visited. Okay. Find Bharuch on map 7. You can find this Bharuch. The story of Bargaza. Okay, the Greek name for Bharuch. So this person's name is unknown. That's why they gave him the name. Bharuch in the Greek language is Bargaza. So you can read this table, this story. Now comes the very important topic, that is coins. Okay, you may have noticed how wealth is measured in terms of coins, and the story on page 82, the story of poor young man that he sold his cat and become a rich man. That story they're talking about. Okay, the earliest coins which were used for about 500 years were punched mark coins, means printed coins, as one shown below. These, like, they are printed. See, these are printed, punched. Okay, so punch mark coins were generally rectangular or sometimes square or round in shape, either cut off metal sheets or made of flattened metal gobble. They are telling how these punch mark coins were made. Okay. Other means of exchange. Read a short poem from the Sangam collection. As they carry the white paddy of their land to exchange it for salt of another, crossing the land roads. See, from the first two lines we can tell what are the other means of exchange here. Means if one person has a white paddy, a bundle of white paddy, extra white paddy, he can exchange it with if, let's suppose an example, if a person needs salt, okay, and he grows white paddy and he wants to sell his paddy and get salt. So what will he do? He will go to a salt person who have many salts and who need a white paddy. He will give them his white paddy and will get a salt. Means there's no interference of coins or money. They are exchanging in the materials only. So they, in this table, they are talking about this. Cities with many functions. Very often a single ton was important for a variety of reasons. Let us look at an example of Mathura. Mathura has been an important settlement for more than 2,500 years ago. It was important because it was located on the crossroads of two major routes of travel and trade. From the north, please underline this, from the northwest to east, and from the north to south. There were fortifications around the city, several shrines, and very holy place for Hinduism. Farmers and herders from adjoining areas provided food for people in the city. Many people were united. Mathura was also a center where some extremely fine sculpture was produced. Okay. Around 2000 years ago, Mathura became the second capital of Kushanas. Please underline this. Second capital of Kushanas was Mathura. This question can come. What is the second capital of Kushanas? And the answer is Mathura. About whom we will be reading in the chapter number 9. Mathura was also a religious center, as I told earlier. There were Buddhist monasteries, Jain shrines, and it was an important center of worship of Krishna. I told you it is a very important shrine for Hinduism. Jain shrine, Buddhist monastery were there, and Hindu temple were there, and a very important center for the worship of Krishna. Several inscriptional surfaces such as stone slabs and statues have been found in Mathura. So, generally these are short inscriptions recording gifts made by men and women. That inscription that were found in Mathura. Two monasteries that were made by men and sometimes women, two monasteries and shrines like gifts. These are made by kings and queens, of officers, merchants, and craftspersons who lived in the city. For instance, inscription from Mathura mention goldsmith who makes gold, who does not make gold, but who changes the shape of gold into a jewelry or into a gold brick. Okay, that are called goldsmiths. Blacksmiths that uses iron for the same purpose. Weavers that weave the cloths. Basket makers, as in the name suggests, they make baskets. Garland makers means a garland of flowers. And perfumers who make perfumes. Crafts and craftsperson. See, this chapter is just talking about the daily livelihood of villages and towns in the time of Mahajanpas. So, this chapter is not talking about any of the other kings and queens who ruled from when to where. It is talking about basic development of peoples at the time. craft and craft person. We have already, we also have archaeological evidence for crafts. These include extremely fine poetry known as the Northern Black Polished Ware. Please underline this. NBWP, the full form can come. Northern Black Polished Ware. It gets its name from the fact that it is generally found in northern part of subcontinent. Remember, the question can come, why is the northern black polished ware called northern? Okay. Remember that the archaeological evidence for many crafts may not have survived. Means they're just saying that they are just that we have found the archaeological evidence. There are many more and number of crafts that at the time, but we have not evidence for them. Okay. We know that the text that the manufacture of cloth was important. There was famous centers such as Varanasi in the north, Madurai in the south. Both men and women worked in these centers of cloth making. Okay. Many craftspersons and merchants now formed associations known as Shrenis. These Shrenis of craftsperson provided training, procured raw material, extract raw material and distributed the finished product. The Shrenis or associations of merchants organized the trade. Shrenis also served as banks where rich men and women deposited money. This was invested and part of interest was returned or used to support religious institutions such as monastery. Okay. One table is giving rule for spinning and weaving. Okay, so you can read it on yourself. And now last topic, a closer look, Arikamedu. Find Arikamedu in Puducherry. You can find it and read the box on Rome on page 88. Okay, between 2200 and 1900 years ago, Arikamedu was a coastal settlement where ships unloaded goods from distant lands near Puducherry. A massive brick structure which may have been a warehouse was found at the site. Other finds including poetry from the Mediterranean region. As at the Puducherry we find the settlements of the Portuguese. That's why the poetry from the Mediterranean region such as amphorae, tall double-handed jars, please underline this, that contain liquids such as wine or oil, and stamped red glazed poetry known as Aretine ware, please underline this also, which was named after a city in Italy. This was made by pressing wet clay into a stamped mold. There was yet another kind of poetry which was made locally through Roman designs were used. Means they have given an example of a location, Arikamedu in Puducherry, how the foreign things and foreign culture came into India. In near Puducherry, Arikamedu, near Puducherry. Through there was yet another kind of poetry which was made locally, though Roman designs were used. Means the local people also made a local kind of poetry, but using the Roman designs. Roman lamps, glassware and gems have also been found at the site. Small tanks have been found that were probably dyeing vats. Dyeing vats means to let a thing to dry. Dyeing means to color a cloth. Basically, they were used for the coloring of the cloth. That were dyeing vats mean to color, dyeing for using dyeing for coloring a cloth. Okay, used to dye cloth. Okay, there is plenty of evidence for the making of bead from semi-precious stones and glass. Semi-precious stone like copper, silver or glass. Okay, so Tamil Brahmani inscriptions, several pieces of poetry have inscription in Brahmani. This is a language of Brahmani which was used to write Tamil. Brahmani is used to write Tamil. Please underline this also. Now elsewhere, find Rome on map. This table you can see this elsewhere. They are giving example from outside of Indian subcontinent. For example, Rome or Asia or Europe. They are giving an example. So this is the end of a chapter. So fill in the blanks. Keywords please line. Please read them. Irrigation, iron, village, port, Ringwell, City, Shreni, Sangam, etc. and etc. Dash, you have to give the answers of the question answers in the comment section below. And if you have any queries, please ask them in the comment section only. So fill in the blanks for was a dash is a word used for large land owners in Tamil. This is very easy. I just told you earlier. You have to answer these. The Graham Bhojka often got his land cultivated by the. This is also very easy. Plugmen were known as dash in Tamil. Most Grihapatis were dash land owners. Grihapatis were small land owners. It's a very easy question. These MCQs. So you have to give answers of them also in the comment section. Ring wells were used. MCQ are this: bathing, washing clothes, irrigation, and drainage. Very easy. Panchmark one were made of silver, gold, tin, ivory. So these are very MCQ, and all the exercise you have to give answer in the comment section only. And please answer. Mathura was an important village, port, religious center, forested area. Very easy. Shrenis were association of craft persons. Let me tell you this. Craft person is the answer. Now some important dates. Beginning of the use of iron in the subcontinent about 3000 years ago. Increase in the use of punch marks. Increase in the use of iron cities, punch mark coins about 2005 years ago. Beginning of the composition of Sangam literature about 2300 years ago. And the settlement in Arekamedu in the table between 2200 and 1900 years ago. So this is the end of the chapter. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching. If you have any queries, ask in comment section below. Answer the questions of exercise in the comment section only. And please like, subscribe and share this lecture. Thank you for watching. Keep reading and keep writing. Have a good day.